Welcome to Black Belt Beauty Radio, a podcast fueled by a passion to support your journey in developing your most beautiful and optimal performance in life. Each episode is driven with the intention to elevate your mind. When we elevate our mind, we elevate our life. So get ready. It's time to rise. What's up, everyone? Happy New Year. It's official. This podcast is out there, out of my head and into the real world. Man, it's such a great feeling. I feel like I want to share my process a bit about launching it because I think that there's value in that. For people who, are thinking about doing something they want to do or, feeling some kind of hesitation or fear. I really want to just kind of dig into my process a little bit because, like I said, I think there's value there. So, I posted that this podcast was an idea that hit me, literally, like it hit me almost 2 years ago. And in the last 2 years, I've really connected, I've been deeply thinking about what is it that I really want to do with this podcast. I listen to so many rad podcasts out there, Mind Pump, Tim Ferriss, Finding Mastery with Michael Gervais. I mean, I have a good arsenal of rad podcasts. So, I like a lot of what these specific podcasts, their formats, how they share their information. And so, that definitely, helped to inspire my own idea for it. But I had to dig deeper, like what's my real purpose? And the thing is that the purpose is so aligned with what I share on Black Belt Beauty on my Instagram, where I'm really active. And, like I say in my intro, I think everything comes down to mindset, right? So everything that we do in our life, whether it's, how we take care of ourselves, our relationships, our work, I am a firm believer that everything starts in the mind, right? Our attitudes are the forerunners of our conditions. That's not my quote, but it's a quote that I love. So, we're going to talk about all kinds of things on this podcast. I'm going to have incredible people on here and unpack their process, people who are just living out their ideal life and, challenging their challenges and just going for it. And, I'm really excited to get down and have some rich conversations with these badasses and with the idea that, their stories will be able to inspire your own process. But in addition, I plan to sprinkle in a little bit of my here and there, kind of some bits on my reading and, unpacking, more of what I'm meaning behind what I write, because writing is such a big part of my life. And it's all like mindset stuff. So anyways, I want to bring you back to the day that I launched the podcast. So, I had scheduled this podcast to launch before my first guest, fucking badass Carla Esparza, who won her fight. I am so proud of her. I was so proud and excited to be there front row with my family to cheer her on to her victory. So that was awesome. A rad way to end the year. So the day of, I'm ready to launch this. It's up on iTunes, which felt so amazing to wake up to and to see it there, like this tangible, like this thing that I've been working on and so passionate about creating. And now it was actually there. What's so interesting was that, for sure there was some, I had to like work to make this happen. And there were some challenges and all that in the process of it. But the most difficult part, like being 100% transparent, the hardest part for me was launching this shit. Like telling the world, hey, everybody, look at me. This is what I'm doing. Man, I was going through my phone, looking for like Metallica or NWA, some shit to, amplify my give no fucks attitude and just send it. And it was funny because I was like, man, I wish that one of my, my people would call and just like push me over the edge right now and just like, And right then I actually got a FaceTime call from one of my best friends. It was pretty magical. I was like, tell me to hit post. She didn't even know what I was talking about. She's like, hit post. So I did. And, I was really, really so grateful and so happy that, it was warmly received. And I want to share the truth behind why I felt so nervous about that. I'm not afraid to fail. It's not that, wherever this journey is going to take me with this podcast, I'm all in with it. I feel such a profound connection to this medium being a part of what it is that is like I'm supposed to be doing. Like, it's just, I have many examples of when I've had this feeling in my life, but one quick one that's so relevant and strong, outstanding in my mind is when I moved from Hawaii to New York City. I didn't know anybody. I knew like one person, and I had, met this person just the month before. But at that time in my life, I really did feel I knew that it was time for me to leave Hawaii. I knew that there was more out there in the world that I needed to experience, and also that I wanted to share, So, by the way, I also had leather jackets that I wanted to wear, and that just wasn't happening in Hawaii. So anyways, I meet this person, and it led me to this invite to go out to New York, and I get to New York, and I can visually remember the exact moment when I was looking around, feeling the energy of New York City, and went, fuck, I gotta live here. I moved to New York 1 month to that moment. I had no plan. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't have work lined up. Like, nothing was set like that. But it turns out I would end up living there for, I think it was like almost 7 years. I moved to France for a little bit in between too, or 6 years, whatever it was. And I left New York forever a New Yorker. I mean, my character, my work ethic, just so much of who I am today stems from my time as a resident of New York City. Not to mention, I have friends from New York that are family to me, straight up family. You know who you are if you're listening to this. So, my point is that I didn't have it all figured out. I didn't know what the exact, process was going to be once I got there. I just had this undeniable feeling that I had to move there, that I had to be there. And I did, and I wasn't even scared about it. It's so interesting because I know that when I've told that story in the past, people were like, wow. I mean, in the past, people were like, wow, you're so brave. And I'm like, really? I've always kind of looked at it more as that it wasn't that I was brave. I mean, I can look back now and say, yeah, that was pretty fucking brave. But it was more that I was just really conscious and able to listen to that voice within me, to that feeling within me, and act on it. So I feel the same way about this podcast. I don't have it all mapped out perfectly. I mean, there's a guideline, like some kind of strategy that I have with, the kind of people I want to talk to and whatnot. But I want to make it clear that it's not all figured out. And that's the fun part for me. To be honest, I envision success, and what does success even mean with this? It means that I can build a beautiful community and a real connection within that community and support people in their process of creating their, highest performing self and their most optimal, beautiful life. That's the true goal behind this. And I actually visually seeing it happen. Like, I feel it. Now, how long will it take? What do I have to do? All that stuff. I mean, I don't know that part, but I'm excited to be on the journey to figure it out. Like, just to take it day by day and let it unfold perfectly and authentically. And I know that I'll arrive at that destination. So it's, I'm not judging myself. I'm not moving into this with some kind of, you need to be perfect. Fuck that. I'm not going to be perfect. Perfect is boring to me. I don't even know what that is anyways. I'm really good at being real. So that's all I'm going to do anyways. So, in that moment where I hit post and the biggest relief went through me. Also, I'm going to point this out. This is important to share. If I'm being all real here, which I am, I have 2 Instagrams, right? I have Black Belt Beauty, and then I have my Roxy look, which is like my personal, and that stems more from like when I started Instagram, and I'm a celebrity makeup artist. That's what I do by profession, right? And so that's kind of the space where I really show more of that, and that's where my peers are in the industry, and brands that I'm connected to. And it was so interesting that was almost a scarier space to share this shit with, right? Why? I mean, First of all, this is not a departure from my makeup career. It's, if anything, it's meant to amplify this idea that I live by of inner outer beauty, 360 degrees of beauty. So yes, I'm skilled with makeup. I have a talent. I love it so much. I've always loved that I can positively influence the way a woman or person, I work with men too, can feel about themselves by just, doing a little bit of this and a little of that, and with makeup, and it's a wonderful feeling for me. I love that. That is my favorite part about that. It's not the eyeshadow or the lipstick. I mean, that stuff's fun, but it's really about the connection and the ability to just, make my clients feel amazing. And that is really connected to what I'm doing with Black Belt Beauty. So it all works together. But it was so interesting to call myself out and say, why would you, what are you holding back for? Like, what people are going to think? Like, oh, who cares? I mean, honestly, with all due respect, I don't really give a fuck, if it was layer cake, I say this often, on maybe layer 2 or 3, there's the what if or this, that. Foundational layer is I don't give a fuck, because you know what? This is my life. And I'm a very autonomous woman. I really, when I feel something and when I believe in something, I move towards it. Even if I have fear, even if there's uncertainty, when I feel something that's strong, I move towards it. And honestly, when I evaluate the history of my actions stemming from this feeling and this, way of living, it's always served me. Always. So let me capture that right now and kind of bring that into the highlight that if there's something that you want to do, if there's something that you're really just like, oh man, I want to go for this and I don't know how, or I'm afraid, don't worry about the how so much. Just move towards it, because I really believe that, and it doesn't have to be an instant thing. Like, look, it took me 2 years to get this off the ground. But when it's something that you spent time on and you've learned, this is not just an emotional thing. It's not like a craving and then you drink a glass of water, like you craved, whatever, a slice of pizza, you drink a glass of water and you're like, oh, actually, I don't want the pizza anymore. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's not that kind of thing. If you've sat on it and you're really passionate about it and you really feel a connection to it, you got to go, man. You got to go towards it. And like I said, whatever this is going to lead me to, I trust. So let's, I'm going to put a little pin in that word, because that's a big word that I'm going to be expressing constantly through this podcast, because I feel that living with trust is it's one of the MVPs in living a authentically beautiful and, just wonderful life. When you only have a choice of either, trusting or not, right? So going back to the subject of you want to launch something, you want to move towards something, you're afraid, you don't know how, what are you doing in that moment? Are you trusting or are you worrying? Which is essentially kind of like how I equate it. It's kind of betting against yourself. Why would you do that? Like, I don't know. I mean, I've had to ask myself this so many times. So what I'm saying, I'm not immune to this. This is a question that I, when I do feel some kind of hesitation or, I ask myself that question, where are you right now? Are you trusting or are you worrying? And I don't ever want to be on the side of worrying. It does nothing. It's like the worst investment of thought and energy. And I think that, it's kind of like thoughts are money, right? So where are you putting the money? Are you investing in worrying, or are you investing in trusting and just knowing that, you got this, whatever it is. And especially if it's something that you really want and you believe in, and, you're willing to do the work to create it into being, then just let go and fucking trust it. So that's essentially what I did with, the launch of this podcast and, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I'm super excited. I want to connect with all of you, and I want to deliver really useful and enjoyable. I want to make it fun for you guys. Like, you're sitting in traffic. Well, okay, cool. So, I want traffic to be just a fun place now, a place of how I refer to it, because of all the podcasts I listen to, is class is always in session. And it's true. It's like I've learned so much sitting in traffic thanks to podcasts. So yeah, I thought I just wanted to share this. There will definitely be, little episodes like this of my rants or Instasodes where I get to kind of regurgitate some writing from my Instagram posts and unpack my thought process behind my words and share more with you guys. But I'm really grateful to be here, and I'm really grateful for the support that I've already felt and that I'm continuously, receiving every day. And, I know that at the start of each new year, everyone's kind of like fired up to, make it their best year and their best selves. And I value that. I want to be a support system to, when it gets challenging, to be consistent, because that's really the hardest part, I think, for, you start the year with all these ideas and these intentions and these resolutions or whatever. And then, it's 3 months later, it's like, where did it all go? And that happens to a lot of people because life happens. So I'm hoping that, I'm reinforcing this idea right now that you got this. Whatever it is that you want to create and go for, fucking do it, just, go for it. Seriously, go for it. Or if you feel like you need to meditate on it more or spend a little bit more time, that's fine too. But just don't let your nerves hold you back. We always have the choice to be taller than our challenges or not, truly. And, it's a really beautiful feeling when you can feel the fear and you move towards it anyways, because then you have these incredible reference points to look back on, like I do with the launch of my podcast, right? Where it's like, man, I was so nervous, but I did it, I crushed it, I sent it, and here I am. And now, and I'm sure, there will be several more times where things, situations are going to come up where I'm going to feel nervous, and now I can look back and there's another point of reference where it's like, do you remember that time you were nervous and you went for it anyways and you felt amazing afterwards? Keep going. So yeah, man, I'm fired up. If you can't tell, I'm so excited. And, yeah, I think I'm going to wrap this one up for now, but I was just feeling this so deeply in my heart and just want to send you guys so much love and support as you start creating your new beautiful year. And leave me however you want to connect with me, please do. I would love that. Let's do this together. It's really, I'm such a team player. I love it. I thrive on it. So I'm all in with you guys. Let's do this shit. Happy New Year, and I will catch you on the next one. Thanks for taking the time to check out this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please share it with your friends. Head over to iTunes, subscribe to this podcast, rate it, leave me an honest review. Let's connect. I'm so excited to do that in this space and really create content that elevates your mind in support of your best performance in life. You can find me on Instagram at blackbeltbeauty. I'm active there every single day, and I look forward to connecting with you all. So thanks again, and I'll catch you on the next one.